Hello everyone, I'm Rupali Meshram. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon for my latest updates. Good morning students. Today we are going to see Standard 7th, Chapter 6, Conflict with the Mughals. So far, Shivaji Maharaj had successfully fought the Adil Shahi, but for expanding the Swaraj, conflict with the Mughals was inevitable. The Mughals posed a great threat to the Swaraj even as it began to expand. Maharaj trumped over this threat too. He regained his forts and territories from the Mughals. He got himself crowned. He took up a campaign of the south. We shall learn about all these events in this chapter. Shahista Khan's invasion. In February 1660, Shahista Khan left from Ahmednagar and entered the Pune province. He ravaged the territory of the Swaraj by sending small units of his army to the neighboring areas. He encamped at Chakan. Firangoji Narsala, the Killedar of the fort of Chakan, offered a strong resistance to Shahista Khan's army. Finally, the Mughals captured the fort of Chakan. Shahista Khan set up his camp at Lal Mahal in Pune, where Shivaji Maharaj had lived in his childhood. Khan sent his forces in the region around Pune. These forces looted the people. 2 years passed, but he would not think of leaving Pune. Naturally, this had an adverse effect on the people's morale. In these circumstances, Maharaj drew up a bold plan. Shivaji Maharaj decided to raid Lal Mahal secretly under his own leadership. On 5th April 1663, Maharaj raided Lal Mahal at night with a select band of soldiers. In this raid, Shahista Khan lost his fingers. He suffered great humiliation. He left Pune and shifted his camp to Aurangabad. Due to this episode, he incurred the displeasure of Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb transferred him to the province of Bengal. The successful attack on Shahista Khan had an impact on the people, and their faith in the capability of Maharaj was strengthened even further. The Surat campaign. In 3 years' time, Shahista Khan had ravaged large territories of the Swaraj. It was necessary to make good this loss. For this, Shivaji Maharaj devised a plan for teaching the Mughals a lesson. Surat was a big trade center and port under Mughal control. The British, Dutch and French had their factories there. Maximum revenue was being generated by this city for the emperor. It was a rich city. Maharaj marched on Surat. Inayat Khan, the Subedar of Surat, could not put up any resistance. Maharaj obtained plenty of wealth from Surat without bothering the common people. His campaign of Surat was completely successful. This campaign was a stunning blow to Emperor Aurangzeb's prestige. Jai Singh invasion. With the view to curbing the increasing activities of Shivaji Maharaj, Aurangzeb sent Mirza Raja Jai Singh, an experienced and powerful Rajput Sardar. Jai Singh came to Pune. He started rallying all the forces against Shivaji Maharaj. To the Portuguese of Goa and Vasai, the Dutch of Vengurla, the British of Surat and the Siddhis of Janjira, Jai Singh suggested that they should start a naval campaign against Maharaj. Jai Singh drew up a plan of capturing the forts of possession of Maharaj. Mughal forces were sent to various parts of the Swaraj. They ravaged the territories of the Swaraj. Maharaj endured to resist the Mughals. Jai Singh and Diler Khan laid siege to the fort of Purandar. When the Mughals put the fort of Purandar under siege, Morarbaji Deshpande fought with the greatest of courage. He died a hero's death. Considering the seriousness of the situation, Maharaj began talks of a treaty with Jai Singh. He met Jai Singh personally. A treaty between Jai Singh and Maharaj was signed in June 1665. It is known as the Treaty of Purandar. In accordance with the terms of the treaty, Maharaj gave the Mughals 23 of his forts and the adjoining territories, yielding an annual revenue of 4 lakh horns. He also assured the Mughals of help against the Adil Shahi. The treaty was ratified by Aurangzeb. Agra visit and escape. After the Treaty of Purandar, Jai Singh launched a campaign against the Adil Shahi. Maharaj helped Jai Singh, but this campaign of Jai Singh was not successful. Jai Singh and Aurangzeb felt that Shivaji Maharaj ought to be kept away, at least for some time, from the Deccan politics. Jai Singh proposed to Shivaji Maharaj that he should visit Agra and meet the emperor. He guaranteed the safety of Shivaji Maharaj. Shivaji Maharaj set out for Agra. He was accompanied by Prince Sambhaji and a few of his trusted people who were ready to risk their lives for them. Shivaji Maharaj reached Agra. Aurangzeb did not treat him with due honor at his court. Maharaj gave vent to his rage. The emperor then put him under house arrest. Angered by this action of the emperor, Maharaj devised a plan of escaping from this house arrest. Adroitly escaped from Agra and reached Maharashtra safely. After a few days, he reached Rajgarh. While returning from Agra, he had left Sambhaji Raje at Mathura. Later, Prince Sambhaji was brought safely to Rajgarh. While Maharaj was away from Swaraj, Veer Mata Jizabai and the associates of Shivaji Maharaj looked after the administration of Swaraj. On the offensive against Mughals, immediately after returning from Agra, Maharaj did not want any conflict with the Mughals. However, he wanted to recapture the forts and territories given to the Mughals as per the Purandar Treaty. For this, he prepared a comprehensive and bold plan. It was his strategy to capture the forts by sending a well-occupied army on the one hand, and on the other hand, to keep the Mughals unstable by invading the territories of the Deccan under their control. Maharaj attacked the Mughals' territory of Ahmednagar and Junnar. Then he recaptured several forts such as Sinhgarh, Purandar, Lohagarh, Mahuli, Karnal and Rohida, one after the other. Then Maharaj attacked Surat for a second time. While returning from Surat, he fought a great battle with the Mughals at Wani Dindori in Nashik district. Maharaj defeated the Mughal Sardar Daud Khan in the great battle. After that, Moropant Pingre captured Trimbakgarh near Nashik. Thus, Shivaji Maharaj was successful in the offensive that he had launched against the Mughals. Sardars such as Tanaji Malsure, Moropant Pingre, Pratap Rao Gujar, etc. made a valuable contribution in these offensives. Krishnaji Ananta Sabhasad, a contemporary chronicler, thus described their campaign. He took as many as 27 forts in 4 months and earned a great reputation for himself. Coronation. The foundation of the Maratha Swaraj involved a relentless struggle for over 30 years. Maharaj realized that now it was necessary for the Swaraj to win general recognition as a sovereignty independent state. For this, a formal coronation was necessary. On 6 June 1674, he made himself coronated at Raigad by Gagabhat, a learned Pandit. Maharaj ascended the throne of Swaraj. He now became the Chhatrapati of the Swaraj. As a symbol of sovereignty, the Rajyabhishek Shaka, that is, the coronation era, was started. Maharaj became the founder of a new era. On the occasion of the coronation, special coins were minted. A gold coin called Horn and a copper coin called Shivarai, with the legend Shri Raja Shiv Chhatrapati inscribed on them. Thereafter, all royal correspondence, that is Rajpatra, carried the words Kshatriya Kulvansa Shri Raja Shiv Chhatrapati. A dictionary showing Sanskrit alternatives for Persian words was prepared. It is known as Rajya Vyavhar Kosh. The coronation of Shivaji Maharaj was a revolutionary event in the history of medieval India. While explaining the importance of this event, Sabhasad writes it was no mean achievement for a Maratha king to become such a great Chhatrapati. Shortly after this, on 24 September 1674, Shivaji Maharaj had his second coronation performed under the guidance of Nishchal Puri Gosavi. There were two traditions of religious ceremonies in India, Vedic and Tantric. Maharaj honored both the tradition and had two coronation ceremonies performed. Do you know? Prince Sambhaji Raje was 17 years old at the time of the coronation of Shivaji Maharaj. He has described the coronation ceremony in the treatise Buddha Bhushanam. It is based on his own experience. Without measuring or counting, plenty of money, clothes, elephants, horses were donated to the great scholars who had come to attend the coronation ceremony from different regions. The Shivaji Maharaj spread his fame in different directions. Do you know? An extremely valuable and grand throne was made for the coronation of Shivaji Maharaj. There were 8 bejeweled pillars on 8 sides of the throne. This throne, made of 32 men of gold, had been studded with precious jewels. The Campaign of the South. 3 years after the coronation in October 1677, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj undertook a campaign of the South. He went to Golconda. There he called on the Qutub Shah. He entered into a treaty of friendship with him. Later, Maharaj won Bangalore, Hoskote in Karnataka, Jinji, Vellore, etc. Forts in today's Tamil Nadu and some other treaties of Adil Shah. He appointed Raghunath Narayan Hanumante, the chief administrator, to look after these conquered territories. Vyankoji, the half-brother of Shivaji Maharaj, was then ruling at Tanjavur. Shivaji Maharaj tried to get him to participate in the activities of the Swaraj. After Vyankoji Raje, the ruler of Tanjore, encouraged and learning the Saraswati Mahal library that is world famous. In this campaign of the South, Maharaj had annexed the fort of Jinji in Tamil Nadu to his Swaraj. This proved to be of great importance in later years. When the Mughals emperor stayed put in Maharashtra to destroy Swaraj, the then Chhatrapati Rajaram Maharaj had to leave Maharashtra for reasons of safety. At that time, he took shelter in this southern fort of Jinji and ran the administration of Swaraj from there. Soon after the victorious campaign of the South, Shivaji Maharaj passed away on Raigad on 3rd April 1680. His death at the age of 50 was a great loss for Swaraj. A great era came to an end.